Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me Crendor and welcome back to Crendor Talks in front of a shitty green screen. Today, we've got some pretty big news. We're going to be talking about the potential of a WoW alpha coming next week. So from what I'm seeing from MMO Champion and Wowhead, the WoW beta product is no longer deprecated in the Battle.net client as of Friday afternoon and also uses Shadowlands assets for installation. In addition, the alpha product is now labeled as internal, likely to set public builds apart from the builds only available to Blizzard employees. Or I would imagine a closed alpha or beta. Shadowlands alpha is still not here, but with this step, it's closer to being accessible. All we need now are a working client and flagged accounts. With 2 encrypted alpha builds this week, as well as this Battle.net update, could Shadowlands alpha start next week? Probably. There's still no release date for Shadowlands, but you can catch up on the new expansion features like Torghast and Covenants in our expansion overview. And then you can click their expansion overview and look at a bunch of stuff. But I wanted to go over like some of the basic features of Shadowlands, because really, you know, I'm excited to play Shadowlands. I'm pumped for a new WoW expansion. I'm pumped for moving on from BFA, as I think we all are. But aside from like remembering back to BlizzCon, I don't really remember much about Shadowlands, I'm not going to lie, because most of the hype for me was Classic WoW. But now, you know, we've all played Classic WoW, we've done all that. It is great, but I was like, oh yeah, Shadowlands, what was in that? So let's talk about it a little bit, because we're potentially a week away from, you know, maybe less from the alpha. Explore the Realm of the Dead is the initial thing they say in this Blizzard post. For the first time ever in a World of Warcraft game, players will cross into the Shadowlands and experience the wonders and horrors of the afterlife across 5 new zones. The gleaming fields of Bastion, the scarred battlefields of Maldraxxus, the eternal twilight of Ardenweld, the opulent keeps of Revendreth, and the horrific Maw. So that's cool. I mean, the big thing here is, right, we're going into the Shadowlands. So, like they say, a lot of the characters that have died are going to be here in the Shadowlands, which means what are some of the characters you want to see in the Shadowlands? This is potentially another video idea I'm just throwing away right here. Maybe I'll make it anyway. Who knows? Pointless top 10 characters you'll meet in the Shadowlands. But really, who are some characters you would want to meet, right? Like Arthas, obviously. There's probably all the older characters like Grommash, or even Gromhellscream. There's the main one, which is Mancrick's wife. The obvious Mancrick's wife. There better be a Mancrick's wife thing of her talking about like wanting to kill Quillabors or something and then getting to kill Quillabors. Even if it's a fever dream, I don't even care. That's what I want to see there. So in the comments below, tell me who you want to see in the Shadowlands that's died in World of Warcraft. Vol'jin, probably one we'll see. But that should be fun. Just seeing who's there. Let's see, moving on. Claim a Covenant's power. Players will be called upon to forge a bond with one of 4 Covenants that rule Shadowlands' new zones, setting the tone for their journey through the expansion with a full Covenant campaign. As they level up, they'll get new abilities based on their choice, including class-specific abilities for each Covenant, as well as developing soul binds with specific Covenant members, which grant them access to characters' specific traits and bonuses. So it's, you know, Scryer, Aldor, reputations, etc. Except you get a little bit extra compared to what you got back then. You know, you get some abilities, you get some, some rep rewards and stuff like that. Neat, cool, awesome. Ascend the Tower of the Damned. At the heart of the Maw lies Torghast, Tower of the Damned, a cursed otherworldly prison where the wickedest souls in the universe are locked away. Highly replayable and inspired by roguelike games, heroes are invited to explore its ever-changing halls and chambers and do battle with minions of the jailer Torghast, vile ruler. Those who brave its trials can claim legendary treasures and help free heroic spirits wrongfully trapped within. So, Okay. So this is like, so it's like a Slay the Spire, roguelike game, right? Like all those roguelike games. But it's World of Warcraft based, so it's like you're playing WoW, but you're playing like a roguelike WoW minigame thing. I don't know. I'm confused, but I'm intrigued. So that sounds pretty cool, honestly. Like, I'm down to try that. It sounds promising. Will it be good? We'll have to wait and find out. But it sounds pretty fun. Every level is meaningful. Shadowlands will introduce a new leveling system meant to provide a new, meaningful sense of advancement with every level achieved. Current max level characters will begin Shadowlands at 50 and work towards a new level cap of 60. We're going backwards again, so we're going back to level 60. Many of us have already hit level 60 this year, just in Classic WoW, but I guess in Retail WoW, we'll be hitting 60 again. So that's neat. I'm curious to how they'll downscale all the other characters that we have. Like, what if you have a level 113? What if you have a level, like, 94? What if you got a level 48? I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do with all that, so we'll see. I know they also have that new starting zone, I believe. That'll be pretty cool. It's not like a giant feature or anything, but, I mean, it seems like a cool thing to have if you make a new character and not have to play through the old starting zones and have the option. Or if you're actually a new player, you'll be able to be like, oh, this is a good way to learn the game. So, we'll see. Every level... Oh, wait, I already heard that. A new army of the dead rises to combat Sylvanas' assault on Icecrown, Bolvar Fordragon, the revered former paladin who took on the mantle of the Lich King to keep the Scourge at bay, has raised heroes from among all the peoples of Azeroth to bolster the Death Knights of Acheris. I definitely can't say that correctly. With Shadowlands, Pandaren and all allied races will now be able to become Death Knights. Alright, it's like we're going back to Wrath of the Lich King. A little bit. Improved character customization. A host of new appearance options for all races will be made available to players when they create new World of Warcraft characters or alter existing ones at the in-game barber shops. Alright, cool. So we got some new character customization then. That sounds neat. And those are the main ones they list. Also, I think some of the big ones they leave out here that they talked about at BlizzCon would be how they're kind of... Oh, it says right, like the unpruning of the classes, right? Kind of giving classes their abilities back that they took away over the course of expansions and kind of adding more uniqueness to every class. So instead of being like, I'm a warlock, or, instead of being like, I'm just a generic caster that happens to be called a warlock, you can actually be like, hey, I'm a warlock again, I do warlock things, right? That seems to be the course that they're going down this expansion. So I'm curious to see how far down that road they go, and whether or not they, actually follow up, whether they walk the walk that they talked the talk. That I even... they talk the talk, will they walk the walk? That's what I'm trying to say right here, right? So I'm curious to see how much they've actually changed with all the classes and see how unique each class actually is. And I mean, aside from that, that seems to be the main stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, can this be worse than BFA? Right? If we're following the, the expansion list, right? We had Classic was good. Burning Crusade was good. I say this is the Gnome Ragon music's playing or whatever. Then we had Wrath of the Lich King, right? But then we had Cataclysm, so we go up and then we go down with Cataclysm. But then we get Pandaria was pretty good. We go back up, and then we had Draenor. It's like, but then we had Legion, which was like, and then we had BFA. It was like, so now going back up, Shadowlands, going back up. We'll see. So hopefully, my hope is that they've learned enough from playing Classic WoW themselves and seeing people play Classic WoW. They don't have to take everything from it, right? They don't have to take everything. They just have to take the things that work very well and that help push the MMORPG genre forward, you know, and don't just hand out loot. Don't just, you know, slap some abilities on a thing and be like, you're a spellcaster, right? Be like, no, you're a warlock, right? You know, as long as I don't have to farm soul shards again. Granted, you know what? I didn't even mind farming soul shards that much as a warlock. It wasn't even that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So, you know, I feel like every class, they need a little bit of that. You know, you got to work towards something, right? And I'm hoping that's what they add back into it. Either way, I'm excited to see what Shadowlands is going to be bringing. And one of my favorite things about playing these alphas and stuff is getting to find things that people haven't really data mined yet. You know what I mean? Because once you get to a point, they just data mine everything and everything. But early on, there's so much stuff that it's hard to really process all of it. So when you get to play so early, you can find all those weird things like, oh, here's a weird panda guy in a cave. Oh, here's a turtle that like has a weird glowing orb around him that does weird shit. Like, you know, things that you wouldn't normally be like, oh yeah, here's the patch notes. Oh, weird glowing turtle, right? So that's part of the fun of it. And just getting to see if the game is really that great or not. So listen, every time there's a new WoW expansion, I'm going to end up playing it and hoping for the best. Maybe it doesn't turn out the greatest, but I can have hope. So thank you for listening and watching. If you're new here, hit the subscribe, notification buttons, the bell, be notified when I go live. When I go live, I'm not on Twitch. I am on Twitch, but I'm currently not on Twitch. My brain is just so, you know, live streamified. Just do whatever you want, right? Do whatever you want. I upload like 2-3 times a week, and you know, I'll be uploading a lot of WoW Alpha stuff when it hits because I think it's gonna be pretty fun to explore and do all that. So, thank you for listening, watching, and check out some other videos. Whoop, they're right here. Doo 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 doo. My other hand isn't even showing up. Right here. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya.